I think sometimes when you're doing things over and over again at a detox facility, that you can kind of let your spider senses go to the wayside. And that's why it needs to be a medically driven facility.
Right.
Because every good doctor knows that even though something might look like detox, if you at least consider the possibility that this really fast heart rate and other symptoms could be from infection, the opposite should be done from what was done. A beta blocker artificially lowers the heart rate. Your body, during an infectious process, it raises your heart rate because your drop in blood pressure is trying to compensate. So what's unfortunate is if you give a beta blocker to someone who's in that state, you're not only not treating the infection, you are increasing probably the rapidity by which someone might die. And it's a really unfortunate set of circumstances, because I can see how this can happen. I mean, that's the hard part. It doesn't take a ton of negligence to allow this to happen. It's really more so just kind of taking your eye off of the patient.
I think the medicine, and what we have here, including a drop in O2 sat and stuff, points to this patient was sick. It should have been recognized. The patient should have been sent to a hospital for the proper treatment. The comment that plaintiff's attorney is saying that, well, they claim, well, they didn't want to transfer the patient out of the facility because they didn't want to lose the revenues that they were collecting. And if in fact that was any sort of motivation, or if that's going on in this industry, then that's a big problem.
I'm curious if, in a case like this, Dr. Lisa, if the facility is found to be negligent, what happens?
In this situation specifically, there's going to be money paid out. And typically what happens is there's a settlement that occurs ahead of time. And it goes to the point that you said, this is a negligent malpractice case. Somebody made the wrong call, and unfortunately somebody died. And so that's why a wrongful death suit comes into the situation in this. They will also they'll lose licensure issues potentially, because they're going after not only the facility, but they're going after the management company, and they're going after the doctor that was supervising the physician assistant who was going over it. So there's technically 5 people on the line in this one case. They will settle this very quickly. And unfortunately, that means that it probably won't actually hit any sort of settlement like publication. So future patients may never even see this.
And yet we don't want people to be deterred from getting help, because obviously there are some good detox and rehab facilities as well. And it is a landmine for these families who have a very small window of time to get their loved one's care. But you still have to do some of the homework. So I have a couple of practical giveaways. You do need to look at the accreditation of a particular company or organization. Are they accredited by the state? They should be. You should be asking them questions. Are you dual diagnosis? Do you actually deal with both the substance abuse and actually some of the underlying psychological issues that might be at play? Are you using FDA regulated and approved medications to assist in the detoxification process? And also, do you involve the family? Because the family is going to be so important in trying to get this person through this very critical period for health. And Dr. Lisa, I want to empower other patients and patients' families here. So what advice do you have for checking out the legal history of an organization? Because you just mentioned sometimes this doesn't make its way into the public forum. So how do people do that research in an efficient way when they have such a small window to understand the facility's legal history?
Ask somebody that you know and trust, an expert that's in this field. So for me, it is not that you check the licensing boards and whether or not, again, I think that that's important, but it is, who is an addiction specialist in the community or in the area that you want to go to? Because sometimes like the ones with the fancy pools and the nice sunsets and all of those things are not the ones that are going to give you the pure care that you need. Because this is hard work. And it is something that you need as a family to be able to afford, have access to, and trust, because this is a big process.
Dr. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. We did reach out to the facility for a statement, but they didn't get back to us in time for taping. And before we go to break, I would just like to add one comment, and that is, if someone you love is either going through detox and they're struggling, you know, don't forget that emergency departments exist for a reason, because detox can be life-threatening. So that's why they call it an emergency department.